Hello, great people. Africans in the UK, particularly Nigerians, may be facing hostility and migration challenges in the coming weeks as Britons are campaigning against the overbearing presence of Africans in the UK. And in a moment, I will leave you to listen to a white man, a Briton, of why they are angry with the presence of Africans and why they are carrying out the protest and what is their fear. Then, when we come back from viewing the video of the man, I will be discussing the implication of this man's statement, what it means for the UK, what it means for Nigeria, and what it means for you, particularly if you are thinking of migrating to the UK, you are thinking of studying, you are thinking of going on tourism, you are thinking of jackpying, you are thinking of conducting business in the UK, or if you are not thinking of it, if you have any friends, family, close relations in the UK, then you need to watch this video to the end. First, let us hear from the Briton of why they are moving against Africans. Then we come back for the discussion as highlighted. Let's hear from him.
This is a call to action. The 1st of March, 2 months' time, Nuneaton. Britain First is holding its first March for Remigration. This is going to be a spectacular event. We're going to be marching through this British town that's suffering greatly with demographic replacement. And this is a call to action to all people in this country that call themselves patriots. Because if you don't want to be replaced, if you don't want your children to grow up as an ethnic minority in their own country, if you don't want to see the land of your grandparents transformed into a third world ghetto, then get yourself to Nuneaton on the 1st of March. It's as simple as that. If you're happy to be replaced, if you're happy to be treated like a second-class citizen, then just crack on and don't attend. But if you genuinely love this country, if you love Britain, if you want a future for your children, then you've got no choice. The choice has been taken out of your hands. You must attend. You must come out there with Britain First and march through Nuneaton, calling for remigration. Now, remigration is a very, very recent term. But when you look at what's happening around this country, we're a minority now in London, in Leicester, in Birmingham, in Manchester, in so many of our towns and cities, we are the minority. And just fast forward the tape. It's getting worse and worse. We're going to be completely replaced in our own country, in our own homeland. Our children will be a despised second-class minority in the land of our grandfathers. You think of all the people that have died. Millions of our grandparents and great-grandparents, millions of our ancestors have died in the most horrible ways, in the most horrible circumstances, to keep this country British. And these treacherous politicians at Westminster have handed our country over on a plate to third world mass immigration. We are being replaced. This is being done deliberate. This is a calculated eradication of the British people. So if you're happy with that, then just stay at home and don't do anything. If you want to take action, considering that we're running out of time, we've got no time left, we've got 20 years at most to take our country back from the politicians and to make sure that we remain the demographic majority in our own country. This is why Britain First is calling for remigration, because if you just look at the situation, an extreme situation calls for an extreme response, an extreme solution. And nothing can be more extreme than what's happening to the British people in their own sovereign territory, their own homeland, that millions of our people have died to defend over the generations. So if you're happy with becoming a second-class minority in your own country, then stay at home, don't do anything. Don't lift a finger. Stay on your backsides and don't do anything. But if you want to show the establishment that you're not having this, you're not going to sit back and allow our country to be taken from us after thousands of years of endeavours and sacrifice, then join Britain First in Nuneaton train station, 12 midday on the 1st of March, and show your children and show your ancestors, show your grandparents that are no longer with us, all the heroes that fought in the Second World War and in the trenches of the First World War, show them that you will not sit back and allow our country to be taken from us. So I'll see you in Nuneaton, 12 midday, Nuneaton train station on the 1st of March. Share this video, Let's get the word out. We're going to have a great turnout. It's going to be a sea of flags as far as the eye can see. And we're going to march straight through that town. And then we're going to go to Birmingham and Luton and all these other places. So please, make your plans now to attend. Best behaviour, all patriots welcome. Let's take over Nuneaton on the 1st of March. And let's show the establishment that we will not walk silently into our own demise.
Well, you just heard from the Briton as regards why they are no longer comfortable with Africans on their home soil. The man asserted that in the years to come that they will eventually become a minority on their own soil, and they don't want that to happen to their children. Now, let us look at this thing holistically. If the Britons decide to protest against migrants, particularly migrants from emerging nations, third world nations, or if you like call it developing nations, or if you want to like you say the continent of Africa, who will be the most affected? It will be Nigerians, because Nigerians' favorite destination is the UK. If you look at Nigeria, maybe by virtue of the colonialism, because most of the people that go to France, if you've been to Paris before, for instance, most of the people that are there that are black are from the countries that France colonized. So they are from the Francophone African countries. So if you go to France now, you see most of them hawking souvenirs at tourist grounds. So the favorite destination of Nigerians, by virtue of the colonialism and of course the spoken language, which is English, is the UK. So if at the end of the day they begin to move against migrants, as even promised by Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the UK Conservative Party, if this threat eventually comes to pass, it is Nigerians that will be most affected, because it has been asserted that 1 of every 4 or 5 Africans is a Nigerian. And if you look at it, in the continent of Africa, Nigeria is the most populous African nation. Not only the most populous African nation, but also the nation that UK colonized. The most populous nation that UK colonized is Nigeria. So if you look at it, that's on the African soil, it's Nigeria. So if you look at it, if they begin to stop Nigerians or Africans from migrating to the UK, the people that will be most affected will be Nigerians. And if they begin to take strong, stiff actions against Nigerians, you'll see that most of our people there, by reason of economic hardship, greener pastures, there are some of our people there that they have japa. And these people, to use the words of the video, come back to where? To Tinubu economy. So I hope that the British government will look into this, because after all, the British government, when most of African nations were attaining their independence, they used the word Commonwealth, which I will come back to. So if truly the wealth is Commonwealth, then why should Nigerians be stopped from staying, living and working in the UK? But before I come into the issue of the Commonwealth, the UK government should address the threat and should take it very seriously to forestall danger. And it's not only the UK government. In fact, I still have confidence in the UK government that they would not lose guard. Before the protest takes place, they would have taken a lot of action to orientate their citizens as regards why these migrants are necessary, and they will be able to stop some of these agitations, because if they don't, it can lead to serious danger on the lives of Africa. Because there are some people that after the protest, during the protest, they will be chanting songs, they will be stating their demands, and some people will take it very seriously, and God forbid a situation whereby we begin to have knife attacks on Africans. Those are one of the unintended consequences of this kind of protest and apparent hate speech against Africans, because the organizers of the protest may just be looking at the long-term goal, but there may be some youth or some radical minds among the Britons that they'll just get angry, and before you know it, I hope they don't enter among black crowd and start opening fire on them or knife attacks. So that's why the UK government must take this very serious. And it is not only the UK government, the African government as well. I hope they would engage with the UK government, because when it comes to matters like this, most African governments are always sleeping. if they are engaging with the UK government that we have so amount of our nationals in the UK soil at the moment, and look at this video, then it will become a diplomatic issue between the United Kingdom and the government of African countries. Then the government of United Kingdom will now owe them the responsibility of assurance, which is to begin to assure these African countries that don't worry, your citizens are safe. In fact, they can begin to even update them on the steps that is being taken to make sure that the citizens of the African countries, that their life and their businesses is in apparent danger, what the UK government is doing to secure them, then they can begin to exchange diplomatic communication. So I hope that the government of African countries, particularly that of Nigeria, will not go to sleep. I hope that our Minister of Foreign Affairs, I've seen this video, and it's not just somewhere just sipping coffee. This is the time for diplomatic engagement, because as I've analyzed earlier, if the UK citizens decide to move against migrants, as regards Africans, it is Nigerians that will be the most affected. And also, not only Nigerians, Nigeria itself will be affected, because think of the foreign remittances, the money that Nigerians are sending in from the UK. It has an effect on the economy. It has an effect on the value of the naira. So if Nigerians are stopped from a country of choice, a destination of choice like the UK, then you want to think about the implication on Nigeria itself, and also on Nigerians that have spent millions of naira. Nigeria have a lot of students in the UK universities. What will happen to them? And that's why the time for Nigerian government to begin to engage its UK counterpart, it's now. Not that it's when they now start shooting Africans or doing knife attacks, then that Nigerian government will not be issuing nonsense condolences. We don't want that to happen to our people. Now, one thing that we need to look at is that, let's imagine that all migrants are being escorted out of the UK, that, oh yeah, all of you leave our country. The question is, can these Britons, can they survive? The answer is no, because Britons are used to a way of life. They are used to a particular way of life in such a way that they don't do some particular jobs, some menial jobs, what you call dirty jobs. They don't do it. It is Africans that are filling the gap. In terms of all these menial jobs, it is Africans that are filling the gap on menial jobs, all this cleaning, babysitting. It is Africans that are doing it. So if you decide to send all Africans away, the question is, who will do those particular jobs? And it's not only menial jobs that Africans are useful. If you look at the UK health system, you will see a lot of Nigerians there. In fact, if you go to UK, you go and collect visa, you exchange your money to pounds, that you want to go and seek healthcare system, that you want to go for medical care in the UK. At the end of the day, it will shock you to the bone that when you get there, the person you will meet, maybe your Igbo brother speaking Igbo to you, maybe your Hausa brother, maybe your Yoruba brother, maybe your Ijo, Ibibio, name the tribe. Nigerians are many in the UK health system. So at the end of the day, if all these people decide to pack out of the UK, can the UK health system, can it survive the absence of the substantial number of Nigerians within its system? So I think this kind of points should be what should form the orientation that the UK government itself will begin to give to its citizens. And also, Nigerians too must learn to live in a very modest way, because we can't rule out the fact that some of our Nigerian brothers and sisters, they don't act too right. Right? Some bring disgrace to Nigeria, some bring disgrace to hardworking Nigerians abroad by trying to cut corners. So they should begin to kind of like orientate them that it is this kind of things that are making this kind of people to begin to be hostile. And at the end of the day, if they eventually become hostile, then it won't all go well for everybody. And of course, Kemi Badnoch should also be thinking of how to help our African brothers, because either which way, no matter how she tries to detach herself, she is a Nigerian. Then as regards the Commonwealth means that, when they came to Africa to perpetuate all this slave trade, colonialism, when the African countries were attaining independence and they were asking for, okay, now pay us compensation, adequate compensation. Let us look at the worth of the amount of resources, the amount of slaves that you have taken from Africa, and begin to pay us back as settlement. The UK government gave an argument that it is, it is our wealth, and that's why they apparently created the Commonwealth Organization. That okay, what belongs to UK also belongs to Nigeria, because part of the wealth of Nigeria is what they used to build the UK, and the UK has benefited from Nigeria during slave trade and colonialism. Same for other African countries that belongs to the Commonwealth. Even some Asian countries that were colonized by UK, countries like Malaysia, for instance, they will be part of the Commonwealth. So the UK government should begin to orientate its citizens that this what that you are saying, it may be domiciled in UK, but it's not only for us. So it is the exploitation of these countries that we were able to use to develop the country that you are now enjoying. So these Africans that you are seeing, by virtue of colonialism and slave trade, are stakeholders in this wealth that we have in the UK. Maybe then they can begin to kind of like behave themselves and begin to accommodate Nigerians and Africans. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politing with Dr. Omoshola Deji. Dr. Deji is a political scientist with a PhD in political science. Do want to subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past videos, and of course, I have great, interesting videos coming your way. Till I see you again, always remember that I love you all sincerely.